All right, guys.
Welcome back.
Next unit up is statistics. So I'm going to give you just kind of some basic information about some things that are used, and then we'll look at a bunch of different ways to represent data. And I'll also include just everything that's going on. I mean, statistics has been kind of on the forefront for the last month or so. So some kind of things in terms of how you see this in the real world, right? So today's lesson should be pretty much just kind of reviewing some of the vocabulary that we'll be using throughout this unit. And that's about it. And so what we're going to do today is review mean, median, and mode. Those are typically called measures of center. And a measure of center is a measure that best represents a typical value in a specific data set. And so we will look at how those are related to each other as we move through the next several lessons. And so you guys may remember the mean essentially being another way to say the average, right? So when we add up all of the values in our data set and divide by that total number, that's what the mean is. Statistically, the symbol for that is like an X with a bar over it. So whenever you see that symbol, that means the mean. So again, it's the sum of the data divided by the number of values. And then the median is just kind of like the median in on a road, right? It divides the road in half. So that is what the median value is. So it's the middle value. The thing that's specific about the median is that your values have to be organized from least to most. From least to greatest. Okay, and then the mode is the value that appears most often. And something to kind of know about the mode is that there can be multiple modes. So if like the number 3 appears twice and the number 2 appears twice, then you'd have two modes. Or you may have no mode. If every value only appears once, and there's no mode. Okay. All right. And so in this first example, we have got this set of data that organizes students' hourly wages at an amusement park for the summer. So we're going to find all three measures of center using this data. So in order to find the mean, I'm just going to do this on my calculator. So I am just going to add all of these up together. 50, 875. So I get, I should not get that. I'm going to spare you guys something that I missed on my calculator. We should get 77.2. These keys are a little bit sticky, so I must have missed a decimal point somewhere. So 77.2, and then there's 8 values. So I'm going to divide that by 8. So when you take 77.2 and divide that by 8, you get 9.65. And so I'm going to put the dollar sign in front of that since we're kind of looking at wages right here. So that tells us that the mean or the average wage is $9.65 per hour. Okay, and we'll kind of talk about what that means in a second. So now what we're going to do is we're going to find the median. So before I can find the median, I need to list these 8 values in order from least to greatest. And so the smallest value, I see this 825 twice. And so when you do have a value that repeats, make sure you put it there 2 times. All right, and then it looks like my next one is 845. Get myself very much room here. And then 865 and 875. And then 910. 925. And 1650. All right, and so I'm just usually kind of start at each end and work my way in. So I'll cover up, and I'll go one more in, go one more in. And so now I've got these 2 values that are in the center, right? Because if I go one more in, then I don't have anything to cover up. So as you work your way in, when you're finding the median, if you have 2 that are technically like in the center, you just take the average of both. So the median is going to be 865 plus 875 divided by 2. And sometimes it'll be obvious, like I can kind of look at that, like when you're finding the average, you're essentially finding your halfway point. So 870 should be it, because that's halfway between 865 and 875. So if you can kind of visualize that, you don't have to actually like that. So the median value is going to be $8.70, and then the mode is the value that appears the most. So I see $8.25 twice. And so that is going to be my mode. All right, so in terms of which measure of center best represents the data. Okay, that's essentially asking this question. Which measure of center describes your typical data value? So if you look at the mean, the mean is $9.65. Well, when you look at the value in order, $9.65, if you were to add it to that number line, would be right here, which does not describe your typical value. It's higher than all of the other values with the exception of this one. So I would say the mean is very misleading. The median is obviously going to be smack dab in the middle. The mode I wouldn't choose either, because the mode is the smallest value. And so the median is going to be your best representation because it's in the middle. No, you might be thinking, well, then isn't the median always going to be the answer to this? Because the median is always in the middle? Yes, most of the time it will be the median, but sometimes the mode or the mean will also work. And we'll talk again kind of farther out in this unit what that means in terms of describing your data set, the shape of distribution, a bunch of other things that we'll kind of come back to. Okay, but again, the measure of center best describes the value of the data set, and so 965 would be misleading. 825 would be misleading. The median is going to be what you'd want to post. So like this kind of comes into play when you're like looking at if the owner of this amusement park were to post an advertisement to try to get people to work there, and say, oh, the average salary is $9.65. Obviously, that's great. Right? That's decent earnings for a summer job. However, when you think about that average, that is extremely misleading, because there's only one person that makes higher than that. Everyone else makes under that. So these people are going to go in and think that they're going to make $9.65 when they're not going to. They would not want to advertise the mode because that's the lowest. So technically they should advertise the median, but most people will take advantage of that value that's pulling the mean up and advertise that. And those are some of the things that we'll look at as we move through this unit. So the rest of this lesson is just going to kind of focus on some applications, mainly finding the mean. So this first one says a high school basketball team had an average of 62 points for its first 6 games of the season. What was the total number of points they scored in those 6 games? Well, an average score, that's essentially an average score. And so we know that the mean is always always the total sum is always the total sum divided by the number of values. Okay, so when we look at what we don't know, we know that the average is 62. What we don't know is the total sum. So that is the total score in this case. That's kind of what I'm looking for. And we know that total score happened over the course of 6 games. So my equation's going to look a little bit different. And some of these honestly don't require any equation. A lot of these can just kind of be figured out by using mental math. I still would like to see kind of how you got there in terms of what you punched in like on your calculator, but some people's brains just don't see the equation, so that's fine too. I just need to see some sort of work or explanation for credit. So when I go to solve this, if I just multiply both sides by 6, undo that, 62 times 6 is going to be 372. So we don't need to know how many points were scored in each individual game. We don't have enough information to figure that out, but we do know that they scored a total of 372. All right, next question is kind of painful because we've been stuck inside for going on 5 weeks. And I would die to be at Topgolf with a group of friends right now. It's starting to get really old in here, but I should have taken this example off. All right, you are at Topgolf with a group of friends. You have 20 turns to hit golf balls into targets that each earn a different number of points. If you miss the targets altogether, you get 0 points. You want to average, here's the average, a score of 4 points per turn during your first 5 hits. So we know we want that mean to be 4. We know that we have 5 hits. So whenever I find the mean, I add up. If I'm doing 5 hits, I should be adding 5 values together. So in this case, I know my first 4. I'm looking for that 5th one. So that would be my variable. So 0 plus 8 plus 6 plus 0 plus x, that 5th one. So when I cross multiply both sides by 5 to undo that fraction, I would get 20 equals, and then that would be 14 plus x, which means I need to score 6 points on my next hit, my last one, in order to get an average score of 4. All right, we've got a couple more. It's kind of different variations of these problems. So this one says a Hogwarts student averaged using 76 ingredients in her first 5 potions and averaged using 92 in the next 3 potions. What was her average number of ingredients overall for all 8 potions? All right, so let's think of what we would need in order to answer this. So we're looking for the average. I know that there's 8 potions. So I'm going to be dividing by 8. So I would need the total sum of the 8 potions in that final example. In the final equation. So all I know is the first 5 and then the next 3. So now I'm going to kind of create 2 different equations because if I know the average of this was 76, and that's going to be the sum of the first 5 over 5. And then I know that she averaged using 92 ingredients. And we got 92 by taking the sum of 3 and dividing it by 3. Now I can find the sum of the 5 and the sum of the 3, and that will become my total sum of the 8. So 76 times 5 is 380. And then 92 times 3 is 276. And so when I add those two together, then come over here. 380 plus 276 is going to be 656. And when I divide that by 8, I get 82. I get 82.
So the average was 82 ingredients.
Per
potion.
That's
a lot of ingredients.
It's a lot of ingredients.
All right. Last one. All right. So 6 consecutive numbers have a mean of 20.5. What are the numbers? All right, so the things that we need to know is that we've got 6 consecutive numbers. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
11. That would be 6. What are the numbers? So be curious. There's a couple different ways that you could do this. I want you to pause the video for a second and try this one.
Pause the video for a second and try this one.
Okay, so I'm going to show you kind of 2 ways that I've seen. Maybe you even did it a little bit different. So one way is definitely more like algebraic. So using variables in it. So saying, all right, if my first number is x, then the next number would be 1 more than that.
The next number would be 1
and then the next number would be 2 more than that.
And then the next number would
and
be
so on and so forth.
And so
until
on
I have 6 values. So 1, 2, 3, 4.
6 values. So 1, 2, 3, 4,
6.
5.
And so
6.
the average. Which is 20.5. Is going to be the sum of all of these values. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6x.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
plus
6x.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15.
Divided by 6. And we'd solve it that way.
By 6.
Right. So 20.5 times 6 is 123.
Is 123.
And then when I take that and subtract 15 and divide by 6, we get x to be 18. So if that first number is 18, then we'd have 18.
First number is 18, then we'd have 18,
20, 21, 22,
21,
23.
22.
My 6 numbers.
23.
Okay.
Be my 6 numbers.
All right, the other way is definitely more of a conceptual understanding of what we're looking at here. So if we know that the numbers are consecutive, that's the important part of the statement. They're back to back to back. So if the mean is 20 and a half, that means that the mean is actually going to be the same as the median because those numbers are consecutive. So if we know that the mean is 20 and a half, that means your 2 middle values have to be 20 and 21. And then you can just work your way out from there until you get 6 numbers. But again, the only way the only reason that works the way it does is because the numbers are consecutive. So that's the only time the mean and the median will actually be the same. Okay. All right. So your homework tonight is the 9.1 worksheet that's posted on Canvas. If you do not have access to a printer, you are more than welcome to just do the work on a piece of paper and submit a picture of that. Just hop on Canvas Conferences if you have any questions.